If you thought the California dream was just on pause, you are dead wrong, because it is officially flatlined. We are looking at a state where the median home price is still wildly disconnected from reality, but the foundation holding those prices up has completely rotted away. State Farm and Allstate didn't just pause writing new policies. They packed up their briefcases and ran for the hills, leaving homeowners holding worthless, uninsurable properties. Add in the punishing highest state income tax in the nation, the disastrous mansion tax that froze the luxury market overnight, and a homelessness crisis that has turned downtowns into open-air asylums, and you have a recipe for a historic real estate implosion. Homeowners are finally waking up, smelling the wildfire smoke, and realizing that holding on to a depreciating asset in a state that actively punishes you for being successful is a loser's game. Why pay $1 million for a 1,200 square foot shack next to a homeless encampment when you could buy a sprawling estate in Texas for half the price with zero state income tax? People are dumping their properties at massive losses just to get out, and inventory in these specific markets is piling up faster than moving trucks heading east. Let's dive into the absolute worst-case scenarios playing out right now across the Golden State. Number 10. San Francisco is the undisputed poster child for the urban doom loop, and its residential real estate market is bleeding out in real time. For years, tech money artificially inflated the prices of these drafty Victorian homes, but that money has completely evaporated as remote work became permanent and major companies fled the city's hostile tax environment.
You used to have multiple bidding wars with all-cash offers over asking price on day one. But now, homes are sitting on the market for 6, 7, or even 8 months with desperate price cuts every few weeks. The commercial real estate collapse downtown has violently bled into the residential sector, dragging down property values across every single neighborhood. Buyers are taking one look at the rampant property crime, the shattered car windows, and the sheer volume of open drug use, and they are walking away. Why would any rational human being pay $1.5 million for a starter home where you have to step over human waste just to get to your front door? The tax burden here is astronomical, yet the basic city services are virtually non-existent, leaving residents paying premium prices for a third-world living experience. Sellers are trapped because they bought at the absolute peak of the 2021 frenzy, and now they are forced to stomach 20 to 30% losses just to liquidate their assets. Even the wealthy elite in Pacific Heights are quietly offloading their mansions before the next massive local tax hike hits the ballot. This isn't just a market correction, it is a full-blown evacuation of capital from a city that fundamentally hates its own taxpayers. Number 9. Oakland has become a containment zone of collapsing home values, driven entirely by an unprecedented wave of unchecked violent crime. The city is essentially operating without a functioning police force, and criminals have practically unionized to strip local businesses and neighborhoods bare. Retailers have fled the area so fast that residents are now living in massive food and service deserts, making these neighborhoods highly undesirable for anyone looking to put down roots. Homeowners are installing military-grade security gates and bulletproof glass just to feel somewhat safe, but even that isn't stopping the plummeting property appraisals. It is an absolute bloodbath for sellers who are finding that buyers won't even attend open houses out of fear of getting carjacked in the driveway. A house that would have easily commanded $900,000 3 years ago is now struggling to attract low-ball offers at $600,000. And even those deals frequently fall out of escrow. Investors who bought up Oakland properties hoping for a gentrification spillover from San Francisco are now panic selling their portfolios at devastating losses. Furthermore, the city's absurdly restrictive eviction moratoriums broke the backs of mom-and-pop landlords, who are now dumping their distressed multifamily units onto a market with zero buyers. When the cost of securing your property exceeds your annual property tax bill, the market mathematically cannot sustain itself. The sheer volume of inventory coming online here is staggering, and it is all priced for a desperation exit. Number 8. Paradise and the surrounding Chico area are ground zero for the California insurance apocalypse, completely destroying any chance of a real estate recovery. You literally cannot secure a standard homeowner's insurance policy here anymore unless you go through the FAIR plan, which is catastrophically expensive and covers virtually nothing. Wildfires have turned this entire region into a massive liability, and the insurance giants have permanently redlined the zip codes, leaving buyers unable to secure mortgages. People who bravely rebuilt their homes after previous devastating fires are now putting those brand new, fire-hardened houses up for sale because they simply cannot afford the $10,000 to $15,000 annual insurance premiums. These brand new homes are sitting empty for months on end, turning optimistic rebuilding projects into ghost towns. Cash buyers are the only ones who can physically transact here, and they're demanding 40 to 50% discounts because they're taking on 100% of the fire risk themselves. It is a tragic but harsh economic reality that the cost of mitigating nature in California has outpaced the actual value of the dirt. If you compare this to living in Nevada or Texas, the carrying costs here are equivalent to buying a luxury car every single year just to cover the insurance. Retirees who thought they found a cheap mountain haven are being financially wiped out by these policy premiums. Until the state figures out how to force insurers back to the table, which they won't, this housing market is effectively a dead zone. Number 7. Santa Monica used to be the crown jewel of Silicon Beach, but it has been absolutely decimated by the implementation of Measure ULA, the infamous mansion tax. This draconian piece of legislation slapped a massive transfer tax on any property sold over $5 million, instantly freezing the luxury real estate market and punishing anyone trying to cash out. Wealthy sellers simply pulled their listings off the market or chose to lease their properties, heavily constricting the velocity of money in the local economy. But the damage didn't stop at mansions. It trickled down aggressively, causing a massive stagnation in the condo and single-family home markets as well. The streets of Santa Monica are now visibly overwhelmed by the homelessness crisis, with encampments encroaching directly onto the beach and high-end retail promenades. Buyers with $3 million to spend are looking at the squalor, looking at the tax bill, and taking their money to Florida, where they are actually treated like valued citizens. Developers have entirely abandoned new luxury projects here, because the margins have been completely erased by the tax and the endless red tape. Even the rental market is softening because the tech executives who used to rent these luxury coastal properties have relocated to income tax-free states. It is a textbook example of how greedy local governance can destroy a world-class real estate market in less than 24 months. The premium you pay to live near the ocean in Santa Monica now exclusively buys you higher crime rates and a massive target on your back from the tax authorities. Number 6. Palm Springs is witnessing a historic collapse in its housing market, directly tied to the total implosion of the short-term rental industry. During the pandemic, investors flooded this desert oasis, wildly overpaying for mid-century modern homes just to turn them into cash-flowing Airbnb machines. Fast forward to 2026, and the local government has aggressively cracked down on short-term rentals, capping permits and destroying the profit margins of these heavily leveraged investors. Now, a massive wave of these former vacation rentals has hit the market simultaneously, creating a glut of inventory that regular home buyers simply cannot absorb. The HOA fees in these desert communities have also skyrocketed to cover the inflating costs of water, maintenance, and insurance, making the monthly carrying costs unbearable. Furthermore, the extreme heat waves and looming power grid issues are making the area less attractive for full-time residents who don't want to pay $1,000 a month just for air conditioning. We are seeing properties that sold for $1.2 million in 2022 getting listed today for $800,000. And they are still sitting there racking up days on market. The sophisticated money saw this regulatory crackdown coming and exited early, leaving amateur investors holding the bag on depreciating desert properties. Without the artificial demand of the Airbnb gold rush, Palm Springs real estate is violently reverting to its true, much lower intrinsic value. It is a brutal lesson in what happens when a local economy is entirely reliant on a speculative tourism housing bubble. Number 5. Sacramento is the cautionary tale of a pandemic boomtown that grew so fast it completely lost control of its own supply and demand dynamics. Thousands of remote workers from the Bay Area flooded this city a few years ago, driving prices up to unsustainable levels and triggering a massive construction boom. Builders rushed to throw up thousands of brand new homes in the surrounding suburbs to meet the frenzy, but they completely mistimed the market. Now, Return-to-office mandates have pulled those tech salaries back to the coast, and state government workers are facing extreme budget cuts, killing local purchasing power. Those brand-new cookie-cutter housing developments are now sitting completely empty, with builders offering insane incentives like buying down mortgage rates and slashing prices by tens of thousands of dollars just to move inventory.
The resale market is getting crushed by this new construction, as existing homeowners cannot compete with builders who are willing to take a massive haircut on profit margins. It is a classic oversupply scenario where the artificial demand has vanished, leaving the city with far too many houses and not enough qualified buyers. Sacramento summers are brutally hot, the property taxes are steep, and the local economy simply does not generate the salaries required to support $700,000 median home prices. We are seeing entire neighborhoods where every third house has a for sale sign, and open houses are practically ghost towns. The crash here is methodical, steady, and showing absolutely no signs of finding a bottom anytime soon. Number 4. San Bernardino is feeling the full, devastating force of the logistics and warehousing bust that is tearing through the Inland Empire. For a decade, this area thrived as the warehouse capital of America. But the e-commerce slowdown and massive layoffs in the logistics sector have wiped out the local job base. Homeowners here were highly leveraged, and as the overtime hours vanished and the pink slips rolled in, mortgage defaults began to spike aggressively. This city already struggled with severely underfunded schools and alarming violent crime rates, making it highly vulnerable to any economic downturn. Now, desperate sellers are aggressively slashing prices, but buyers are completely absent because the high interest rates make these inflated homes completely unaffordable on a warehouse worker's salary. We are seeing price drops of up to 40% in some of the hardest-hit neighborhoods, wiping out years of equity for blue-collar families. Wall Street institutional investors who bought up single-family homes here to rent out are quietly liquidating their assets, flooding the market with even more inventory. The contrast is mind-blowing when you realize that for the price of a dilapidated San Bernardino home surrounded by concrete warehouses, you could buy a pristine, brand-new build in Tennessee. The insurance companies are also pulling out of the surrounding foothill communities, further choking off the flow of credit to the region. This is a blue-collar housing crash that the mainstream media is completely ignoring, but the numbers on the ground are absolutely terrifying. Number 3. Irvine and the greater Orange County area are supposed to be bulletproof wealth hubs, but the reality is they are teetering on the edge of a massive correction. This area is heavily dependent on the local tech sector, mortgage lenders, and real estate professionals, all of which have seen catastrophic job losses in the last 2 years. The property taxes on these multi-million-dollar McMansions are bleeding homeowners dry, especially when dual-income households suddenly become single-income households due to layoffs. We are seeing a massive inventory of overpriced new builds sitting on the market because the foreign money that used to buy these homes sight unseen has completely dried up. Buyers are completely exhausted by the astronomical HOA fees and the mellow roost taxes that can add thousands of dollars to a monthly payment. Even the highly rated school districts aren't enough to convince buyers to take on an $8,000 monthly mortgage payment for a house on a postage stamp-sized lot. Sellers are stubbornly holding on to 2023 pricing, resulting in a completely frozen market where transaction volume has plummeted to historic lows. Eventually, the pain of carrying these massive mortgages forces a capitulation, and we are just starting to see those first desperate price cuts hitting the luxury market. When the wealthiest, safest cities in the state start showing cracks this large, it is a glaring indicator that the entire California real estate machine is breaking down. The illusion of endless appreciation in Orange County has been shattered by the brutal reality of interest rates and economic contraction. Number 2. San Jose is the epicenter of the Silicon Valley reality check, where the absurdity of paying $2 million for a completely outdated, unrenovated ranch home is finally ending. The massive wave of tech layoffs has completely altered the psychology of the buyer pool here, replacing irrational exuberance with extreme financial caution. We are watching million-dollar shacks drop hundreds of thousands of dollars in value in a matter of weeks, because the RSUs and stock options that funded these purchases have tanked. The idea of being house poor in San Jose used to be a badge of honor. Now it is a financial death sentence as tech workers realize their jobs are easily replaceable by AI or outsourced to cheaper states. The cost of living is so suffocating that engineers making $250,000 a year feel broke, prompting a massive exodus to places like Austin and Miami. Homeowners who need to move are finding that the local buyer pool simply cannot qualify for loans at these price points with current interest rates. The city's infrastructure is crumbling, the traffic is soul-crushing, and the local government continues to greenlight high-density housing that dilutes the value of single-family neighborhoods. Properties are sitting on the market for triple the time they did just 2 years ago, and the bidding wars are a thing of the distant past. San Jose real estate was built on a foundation of infinite tech growth, and now that the growth has stalled, the housing market is in free fall. Number 1. Los Angeles is experiencing a real estate collapse of biblical proportions, driven by a toxic combination of horrific public policy and a mass exodus of its most productive citizens. The implementation of the mansion tax completely decapitated the luxury market, but the rot has spread to every single neighborhood from the valley to downtown. The insurance crisis is hitting LA uniquely hard, with properties in the hills becoming totally uninsurable due to fire risk, rendering them virtually unsellable to anyone needing a mortgage. Meanwhile, the homelessness crisis has spiraled so far out of control that multi-million-dollar homes in Venice and Hollywood are sharing sidewalks with sprawling, violent tent cities. People are tired of paying the highest state income tax in the nation to live in a city that looks and feels like a dystopia. We are seeing brand new luxury condo buildings in downtown LA sitting practically empty, turning into massive financial black holes for developers who will likely default on their loans. The entertainment industry strikes and massive studio contractions have wiped out the middle and upper middle class buyer pool, leading to massive inventory pileups. Sellers are slashing prices by millions of dollars on the high end and hundreds of thousands on the median end, just to stop the bleeding and escape the state. The California dream has officially died on the streets of Los Angeles, and the real estate market is simply the financial reflection of that death. We will see you in the next one.